Hello and welcome back to video number 4, and we are going to discuss the formula for developing high value thank you offers, or in other words, high value offers that are being placed on the thank you page. So you now know the general formula of how this works. Basically, we've worked with the vendor has decided to place our high value offer on their thank you page. And basically, they're going to place the subscription form or a link that goes to your subscription form, and people fill that out. Now, the reason why this works is because if you build something that is not directly in competition, but is somewhat related to what they are offering, then the customer just bought what they were expecting, but they got something so much greater, which is what you're offering. So obviously, in this case, you have to build something very, very tightly focused, not in direct competition, but tightly focused. So in other words, don't approach a vendor who is in direct competition with you or anything like that. Because as a vendor, a lot of times we think, okay, if I'm going to share my list with you, or I'm going to give something to you, then in you're selling the exact same thing as me, then you're just going to steal my list. So you really have to think about how you can offer something of value, but not in direct competition, if that makes sense. So to make this work, you really need to break it into parts. And here's what I mean by that. Now, we need you to understand how to get the vendors to say yes, because many will say no. So I really want you to put yourself aside here, because I'm probably sure that you're super excited about building a list, getting other people to build a list, and it's super easy to forget about the buyer and the vendor. So put yourself aside for just a moment and let's discuss. So I want you to put yourself in your vendor's shoes, because this is actually very crucial. So I want you to imagine, just for a second, imagine that there is a vendor who is selling a weight loss book for $17. What if you came along and you created a high value product that was related? So that book talks about weight loss, maybe weight type loss, cardio exercises, and all that. But they talk nothing about food or diet or anything like that. So you come along and you find these vendors that are really focused on this particular aspect, or anything that is not related to food. Obviously, if you approach a vendor who is selling a recipe on weight loss, they're more likely to say, oh no, definitely not. Heck no. They're definitely not going to accept that, because it's just too close to what they're selling. So in this case, perhaps because their book is about weight loss and weight loss training exercises, you can perhaps create a high value product related indirectly that is discussing about food recipes for weight loss. And let's say you do that. And what you end up is you create a book or a video that is worth more than their book. So in this case, you can set the recipe book up for sale on an actual sales page for $27. Somebody is selling a $17 book or something lower. Basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your high value product is either double or a little bit more money than what they are selling. And the reason being is because it's going to get the vendor to more likely say yes. Now, it's got to be realistic. If you're offering something of low value and just bumping up the price, that's not going to work anyways. So yes, as you can see, it does take a little bit more time to actually go through this process, but it's going to be well worth it in the end. Because if you can find, let's say, for example, 10 different vendors who are selling a weight loss book, but they have nothing related to food, then you can approach those 10 or 20 or 30 or so forth. Really focus on a few right now and just get them to say yes, and then approach other people and say, hey, this person said yes, so forth, and blah, blah, blah. So that's what you want to do. And now I really want you to think about the vendor. So let's say, for example, if you offered your product up for free to their buyers, wouldn't their buyers love them for just getting you to work out a deal? Yes, that's going to be a win-win situation for them and for you. Now, that is only if the book you're providing is of high value. If it's low value and you have low quality, you're just going to get a bunch of no's. In fact, I've seen, many people approach us, for example, and they want to offer something and it is super low value with a bumped up price. So you want to make sure that you have high value, a high value sales page and a thank you page. If you're not able to create one yourself, then get a professional to do it for you. Because you want to make sure that everything looks super professional. Everything is high value, because as a vendor, we all think the same. And what we think is, I want to provide the best to my list. If anything is, not really good, I'm going to say no. So that's what you really have to think about a vendor, and just think about yourself as a vendor as well. Put yourself in their shoes. Now, obviously different niches are different. So you have to think about that particular niche. You have to kind of analyze the vendor and the buyer, which we'll talk about later. Now, what you want to do is offer their buyers your paid book, your paid video course, your paid product or service for free in exchange for them adding this offer to their thank you page. And we discussed why. And that was because the vendor is sending the buyers to that page to get the download information. So think about it really carefully. If they purchased a product that is related to weight loss and they see a recipe book that is directly related, they are more likely to say yes. Thank you, vendor, whoever you are, and thank you. Now, this is why it works, because people land on the thank you page, they remember the vendor, they remember you. So the point of contact has already been created. Even though they haven't purchased from you directly, they have created this connection with you, which is stronger than somebody just subscribing and getting a free book. All right, so does that make sense? Basically, they are a proven buyer and they're going to remember you as well. So this becomes what we call a warm buyers list. Cold list means that they don't know you at all. They don't know who you are. They just subscribe to your list. They don't know what you can offer to them. So they have that connection. They know you, basically. That's what that means. So as long as you build that relationship up and you constantly give them high value materials related to weight loss, they'll buy from you. And this is how the formula works. And it's very simple, as you can see. So really what it comes down to is most of your time will be focused on analyzing the vendor and buyer, and then creating a high value product that they are already buying out on the internet, but you just produce something of more high value. So you see how you are leveraging other vendors. If you can get one vendor to put this on their thank you page, and even if you're getting, a few subscribers a day, those are actually building your customer base list. So imagine getting 10. If you're getting 3 or 5, subscribes from each vendor, you could have anywhere from 10 or 50 different people coming to your list every single day. And these are people that are customers. So soon you will have a list of 100 people, and these 100 people will convert at a higher rate as long as you provide them with high value. So this is basically how this works, and the formula is pretty simple. So as a recap, this is what it looks like. You create a high value offer, you get the buyers to sign up on your subscription form to get them to the thank you page, and that's it. They will thank you, they will thank the vendor, and that's it. So with that said, let's move on and let's find some vendors to piggyback on.